Here are the three most interesting gearboxes I own, and in this video I'm gonna show you how each of them work, and I'm saving my favorite for last. While they may look simple, there's a lot that makes them really interesting. Let's start with this vertical gearbox. It consists of four main components: the main holder, the two rods, 9 gears, and 8 nuts. The holder holds the rods in place by screwing on the nuts, and the gears go on in this pattern. Now that it's all assembled, to make sure it doesn't fly away, let's secure it in place by using double-sided tape. And now that it's all ready to go, let me show you what makes it so cool. By rotating this first gear, you can see that the other gears start moving, but slower. This is because when I spin the first gear, the energy moves to the next gear, but some of that energy gets lost due to friction and mechanical issues between the gears, causing energy loss. But if I rotate the next gear, you can see that it gets a little bit tougher, and the other gears move faster. That same principle gets multiplied by 3 every next gear, so it gets 3 times tougher to rotate the gear, and the gears spin 3 times faster with every new gear down the line. And eventually the friction becomes too much, so that means that the gear ratio moves from 3 to 1 and gets multiplied by 3 every next gear. So it continues down the line until we get to the final gear ratio, which is 1 to 6,561. That means that for the last gear to rotate one time, the first gear has to rotate 6,561 times. But where do these types of gearboxes show up in real life? Well, we see similar designs in clocks and robotic arms, where precision and a big reduction in speed are needed across several gears. Moving to the next gearbox, we have the horizontal gearbox. It consists of two main components, the holder and the 7 gears. The gears are simply placed on the holder in this order. Now that the assembly is done, let's secure it in place and let me show you what makes it so cool. Like the name says, rather than the gears being vertically placed to one another, in this gearbox they are placed horizontally to one another. And as the last gearbox, if you rotate the first gear, the other gears also start moving, but slower. Each gear has 55 external teeth and 16 internal teeth, which if we have 7 gears lined up like we do, then the final gear ratio of the horizontal gearbox comes up to 1 to 1,533, which means that the first gear has to spin 1,533 times for the last gear to rotate once. This side-by-side gear setup is often used in conveyor belts, and it works well because right now I'm using 3D printed parts from my Bamboo Lab printer, which are not the strongest because some custom metal gears could make this gearbox way better. And I could make that happen with PCBWay, who do metal 3D printing, something I'd love to try in the future. And finally, for my favorite gearbox, the Planetary gearbox. And what makes this my favorite is that on first glance, you can see that it doesn't use regular gears, like the two gearboxes before it. It uses 3 types of gears: a sun gear, which goes in the middle and is a centerpiece for the gearbox. The axle of the sun gear goes into what's called the planet carrier, the second component. The planet carrier holds 3 planetary gears, and they orbit around the sun gear. And we have the ring gear. It's called that because it looks like a ring. Let's add it to the base and attach the different handles to the back. The way this gearbox is set up makes so that I can spin each gear individually. Now that I have a planetary gearbox all set up, let me show you why this one is my favorite. So, as you can see here, the sun gear can be turned by rotating the smallest handle. The planet carrier can be turned by rotating the red handle, and the ring gear can be turned by rotating the blue handle. When the sun gear moves, you can see that the planet gears start to orbit around it. And if we rotate the ring gear and hold the sun gear, the planet gears also start rotating. Now, if you notice, there are a lot of different gear ratios in this one gearbox, depending on which handle you hold steady and which you spin. If we hold the ring gear and spin the sun gear, you can see that we get a 6-to-1 reduction. That means that we have to spin the white handle 6 times for the red handle to spin 1 time. And because Planetary gearboxes have so many different gear ratios, it makes them perfect for being used in automatic transmissions, like we see here. These models helped us understand the different gear ratios and configurations needed for various applications. I really hope you had as much fun and learned as much as I did when making this video. And if you did, then please make sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe so you won't miss out on future projects. Leave a suggestion of what you would like to see me make next in the comments. And as always, you can find the files for every gearbox in the description. Thanks for watching.